What's up guys, Kevin Cage here. Be sure to like and subscribe and pay close attention to this one. I'm going to try to make this video short and sweet. I want to reference 4 years ago this cross-border payments video shared by Payments Canada. This is again Dean Henry, Bank of America. We know Bank of America is RippleNet, talking about what I referenced maybe 2 days ago, the last mile dilemma, talking about settlements for not only international, but we need to improve the domestic use cases of settlement, transparency, fees, overall just automation as a whole. And keep in mind right here, we have with cross-border transactions having accounted for $23.7 trillion globally in 2018. We can see the bulk of it is, corporate payments, the need for payment systems, operators, all of this to facilitate seamless cross-border international payments at scale has never been greater. This is 2019. Remember, this is right here on payments.canada. Now we can control find for Ripple right in this document, Ripple, and of course, XRP and XLM all throughout this. I know we've shown this probably, 15 times in the past 2 or 3 years. Just wanted to share that. Now, to set the stage a little bit, I want to go over this. Uber did not kill the taxi business, limited access and fare control did. Apple did not kill the music industry, being forced to buy full-length albums did. All right, Amazon did not kill other retailers, poor customer service and experience did. Airbnb is not killing the hotel industry, limited availability and pricing options are. This is a very interesting perspective. Keep this in mind. This is just an analogy, a little brain exercise. And then Anders L goes on to elaborate, RippleNet did not kill Swift. And I think we can obviously add on to that and understand that 3 to 5 days for waiting to payments did, or not even transparency of knowing if payments get there, or 6% error rates altogether to get there, or we can just go on and on and on. And all of those inefficiencies that do not improve business or even help it scale as a whole are killing Swift. Ripple and new technology is not necessarily killing Swift. Again, Ripple is just trying to be an enabler of this ecosystem, and it just so happens that a lot of the technology that it is utilizing is disrupting the ecosystem, and it's not really hard to create an earthquake when the technology overall is just not suited for the needs today. 40 years ago, pre-internet, pre-digital era, it's time for an update, and I think you guys agree with that. There's going to be many technologies that do it, way beyond just RippleNet software and DLT. Okay, so I want to show this XRP Yoda sharing, again, David Schwartz, their Blockstars podcast, and interestingly enough, we have a gentleman, the CEO of Bitso, Daniel, and they go on to talk about something really interesting at the 17-minute mark. I'm sure you guys can see it, I retweeted it as well, talking that they, essentially have regulatory clarity in Mexico. We know that Bitso is one of the biggest on-demand liquidity exchanges utilizing XRP and payment flows, and I actually want to show a different clip, but you guys can go to the 17-minute mark and check that out as well. I think it is very, very telling where the space is going. All right, so now listen up to this clip right here, just around like the 26-minute mark for like about a 1 minute.
I overestimated, like for example, when we thought about remittances in 2014, I would have thought that we would have been able to get to 1% of the remittance flow between the US and Mexico a lot quicker. I always thought by 2017, we will have at least 1% of that flow. And we had basically zero in 2017. And then suddenly it's May 2020, and we're processing close to 10% of the remittances from the US to Mexico through ODL, no? And so you go through these sort of like periods where you overestimate what you can do. I think there's a famous quote somewhere like people tend to overestimate what we're going to achieve in the next year, but underestimate what we'll achieve in 10 years. And I definitely feel that's the case with crypto.
So interesting commentary that he just said regarding 2017, thinking they'd be way further ahead than they were, and I'm right there with you. And obviously he is much more in the know regarding the XRP usage for his exchange Bitso, but the same concept. And then 2020 going from 0 and then to 2020 doing roughly 10% of all payment volume in Mexico, like bam. And that's exactly what reminds me of the commentary from Christine Lagarde, ECB president, saying in economics, and she was referring to payments as well, that things take longer than we think they will to happen, but when they happen faster than we think. All right, so I highly recommend you guys listen to this whole podcast by Blockstars with David Schwartz. Really enlightening, and they also refer to the type of Cambrian explosion. A lot of the same talking points that we've heard Chris Larson mention in the past. Okay, Now, just to briefly go over this, so this is just a little study referring to Mexico and adoption and interest in blockchain and crypto. Wanted to share some of these stats. It reminds me of the Ripple document that I went over, showing what, like 82% of institutions were interested in, utilizing crypto and a bridge asset and all of this. It was really interesting. And, you're actually hearing and getting true surveys from people in the business that will use and push this adoption forward. That's what I care about. So, this study in particular indicated that 40% of Mexican companies surveyed were looking to adopt blockchain and cryptocurrencies in some form. There's going to be private and public. Out of this segment, 71% were focused specifically on crypto usage. The figures also showed that 51% of these companies were intent on implementing blockchain for asset management and transaction handling purposes, while 37% expressed an interest in the implementation of smart contracts. Guys, smart contracts, true automation based off of trust, immutability. This is where the future is. It's going to be revolutionizing everything in terms of information and value as we know it. There's no question about it. And yes, it may just take some time, and that's completely fine. I know what I hold. All right. Next, so I already went over this here, just the, payments, the Payments Canada, going over all that. Went over that. Right here, so Roth Economy. So we have another Ripple partner, and of course we pay attention to Ripple partners. Sometimes it has to do with, Ripple directly, other times it does not, but we are watching overall expansion, and when Ripple helps these partners improve their bottom line or expand, this is a very good sign of the technology being utilized. So I'm going to go over this and then also kind of draw another connection that some of us may be, paying attention to. So Ripple partner iRemit, the largest non-bank remittance company in the Philippines, remember Philippines is already live with on-demand liquidity, was just okayed by the government to enter the virtual currency exchange market as an electronic money issuer. They're connected to another RippleNet partner that we know, Money Match of Malaysia. What happened during that IMF panel that we were talking about, 2 days ago? And we had the CEO of Stellar, we had Danelle Dixon on. Well, who else was attending there? Besides, we had, BIS, we had, some huge people from the Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority. We also had that woman from, she was representing Malaysia as well. So Money Match, remember, all throughout, Southeast Asia, Asia Pacific region, all these countries are demanding and need, faster payments. Now it's a push, and Ripple is helping a lot of these companies scale. And what did I say in the beginning of this video regarding scalability and all this? Right here, guys, we can see roughly 24 trillion globally, and this is just showing seamless cross-border payments at scale. The demand has never been greater, guys. The need to facilitate this seamless transaction. It's all right in front of you. Okay? So keep an eye on this. Stay with me, guys. Now, this is just interesting. I want to touch on this. XRP holders can now check suspicious transactions in a click. I believe just by sharing or the transaction hash, you sometimes have the ability to see which participants were active in a transaction. Nothing's perfect, but it's going to give, XRP scams a harder time. Any push into digitalization, there's going to be new people, taking advantage of any types of, holes. And as we know in cybersecurity, nothing is truly, truly secure. All you can do is keep adding layers, just like an onion. Just wanted to share this additional tools that are being developed. All right, next. You guys know my belief with Ripple and XRP. I don't want to get conspiratorial. I want you guys to think for yourselves. I'll do the same, but I still have opinions, and I'm going to continue to speculate on a speculative asset. And I know I put this out earlier in my thoughts, but maybe I am wrong, and that's completely fine. But I believe a lot, if not most of what Ripple the company does is strategically planned. Every comment, every press release, every strategic partnership, every office location, every, hint towards a new product. If you've been keeping along for several years at this point, I think you guys get it. This is a $10 billion valued company as of right now, if not even more now, which is a Deca unicorn. Remember, a unicorn is referred to a company that is a private company with a $1 billion valuation, and I think we're just getting started. We haven't even gotten our feet wet. Now notice, I'm not saying this has to do exactly with Ripple or XRP, but I want to share this because it is an update towards payments, whether it's domestic or, of course, international. A new interbank payment system will be launched by the Central Bank of Iceland on October 23rd. Tomorrow, this system will take over the role of both the central bank's RTGS system and this netting system as well. We have some commentary from Mickey B. Fresh, which is pretty interesting as always, and something to keep in mind, and I know many people in the community are well aware, but remember, we had Ripple with, of course, Algrim, which is an Icelandic-based team of engineers. We have that. We can, draw connections to a lot of things and, speculate on cross-border or even derivative-like products being built. But yeah, there sure are a lot of coincidences, and I believe that was 2019 when that occurred as well. So you guys can speculate as much as you will, but notice that every key place that Ripple goes or has an office or acquires a company, something big on the back end is working. Okay, so even if it is just a minuscule consultant-like role of educating them, that still is something. All right. Next, Russian public office holders to declare their crypto holdings. We're getting more and more of this. I've seen, new taxes, new legislation and regulation throughout Europe as well. And it's because the demand is growing each and every day. Notice, I know we had talks of Coinbase listing wrapped Bitcoin. Remember, essentially WBTC. It's been around for a while, but we're going to see more wrapped currencies as well. Essentially Bitcoin on the ERC as an ERC20 token. So yeah, maybe it'll be a little faster, a little cheaper. But at the end of the day, it's ridiculous that these types of tokens are getting listed on Coinbase before VeChain, before HBAR, before ADA, before any other crypto for that matter that has been around, and it is solving a real problem for real customers. But we understand why Coinbase would do so. They're a company for profit, and we understand that they hold, as we went over, $11 billion worth of BTC. They take advantage of these fees, all right? Huge spreads on purpose. It's just a company for profit. Can't blame them. But yeah, it is pretty crazy to see that. And I'm all for anything that makes Bitcoin cheaper, faster. And I'm all for interoperability between Ethereum and Bitcoin. That is great. But in my opinion, and this can be biased because you guys know I, hold XRP, but I think that Flare with XRP will be able to do much more than just wrap a Bitcoin, so to speak. Whether it's FBTC, however you want to say it. And last but not least, guys, I also want to make that commentary. I did see that Forte is also building a blockchain game economic zone that utilizes XRP. No surprise, of course, we know the huge investments with Forte and now what is called the Ripple X, formerly Spring, helping build SDKs, helping game developers. It's just the beginning. And of course, gaming is a huge niche, a huge niche market. I think we're well aware of it. There's a variety of projects out there that are doing some big things, and some are not even necessarily blockchain. Another asset that you guys can check out and do your own research on, and this is not financial advice, but just check out an asset called UOS. And I'm sure a lot of you have known about this for quite some time, but for any newcomers, it is quite interesting. All right, so we know, of course, with Forte, and we have hundreds of millions of dollars in this ecosystem for web monetization, streaming payments, gaming, etc. It aims to make the exchange of value between game creators and users a lot easier in utilizing XRP as that bridge asset. So we're building all of this technology to bridge the traditional world, the modern world, and I think this is incredibly important. And to be honest, I see this existing in other projects, but this is going to be biased. I just do not see any other initiatives that are doing what XRP is doing. And you guys are going to roll your eyes and say XRP has been under 50 cents for so long, and I get that, but that's because you're focusing on current price. I'm watching this foundation being built, and I still am just unbelievably bullish long term. Whatever happens short term, I couldn't care less. I seriously just want to get this show on the road. I'm sure you guys are ready every single day, doing your research, watching videos, but you guys cannot be distracted by current price. The current price is not the future price. We see all of these things in initiatives growing. We see payments growing. We see IoT growing. We see AI, machine learning, all of this, and they're all going to be incorporated into payments, just like Fetch AI, AGI, a lot of these AI projects as well. And smart contracts are just getting started. We're just trying to speculate on what the internet would be like when we were in the 80s. Well, now we're trying to speculate what the internet of value will be like in, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.